Honorable Men Discord. Let's talk Drake's Big Money play. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, happy Drake weekend. I don't care if you don't like Drake's music. I love Drake's music. I'm not here to take sides, but I am a Drake fan. And for that reason, it's happy Drake weekend. All right. With that being said, this episode is about the reasoning, potential reasoning behind him dropping 3 projects. Now, as I told you on yesterday's episode, when I first found out there was 2 additional albums, it caught me off guard because I was prepared just to listen to Iceman. I didn't know there was 2 others. Then further things came out about it possibly being the first letter of each album spells out him and all the, other things that came out. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the fact that he potentially dropped all 3 to get himself out of the UMG contract, which his obligation was he had 3 more albums to deliver for UMG. And by dropping the 2 additional albums, he's completed that contract. So I have a few things queued up, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on those things after it plays. So let's get into the first thing I have queued up.
Went down. Drake dropped 3 separate albums in one night: Iceman, Habibti, and Maid of Honor. Now, everybody's talking about the music, but I need you to hear the business. Each one of those projects has its own SoundScan code. Why does that matter? Because Drake was allegedly on the back end of a $400 million deal with Universal Music Group, and that deal required 3 more studio albums. He knocked out his entire contractual obligation in 24 hours. UMG woke up and their biggest artist was already gone. Now he's a free agent, and reportedly a private equity firm has already put a $2 billion offer on the table. If he takes it, he bypasses the label system entirely and becomes the wealthiest artist in the history of music. More than Jay-Z, more than Taylor Swift. That's not rap beef, that's a hostile takeover. The labels have been doing artists dirty for decades, and Drake just flipped the board on all of them. So
let me say this. I wish Drake the best. Aside from the fact that I actually like his music, that's not one of those things where it's I'm jumping on the bandwagon. Like some of you that may be watching may actually be jumping on the bandwagon. I actually like his music, but one of the reasons why I also support him, especially in this time, is I can't stand bullies, and I feel like between some shady fans, or I should say some fly-by-night fans. That's an old term, but so for some fly-by-night fans, they turned their back on him and they were campaigning against him, which I just thought was ridiculous. I think overall we should just be enjoying good music. If we don't like it, we don't like it. But to be campaigning against an artist, I didn't like it. I wouldn't like that if that was even happening to Kendrick Lamar. But with that being said, I want to see him continue to win, and I don't benefit from it. I don't benefit from it at all. But, once I see someone being bullied, it does. You might say, well, how could he be bullied? He has all that money. He has a big home. You can still be bullied. All right. Because as an artist, artists are very sensitive when it comes to their music. They're very sensitive to how fans react to their music. You might think that's not the case, but evidently it is the case. If you've listened to the Iceman album, you can tell that he released a lot of his inner thoughts and his emotions on that album, and it's clear in all the lyrics. Now, with that being said, I hope he does have success and sign a $2 billion deal. Again, I don't benefit from it, but I want to see him win, and I don't think anyone should be a hater towards someone who has devoted this much material, this much music to you for your enjoyment. We enjoy the good times, you should enjoy the bad times, and that goes for anybody. Don't celebrate someone just when they meet your expectations. Celebrate them even when they may potentially have fallen off. You don't have to say that you like something that you don't like, but don't go bashing that person when they're on the downhill, because listen, nothing stays up forever. I don't care who you are, I don't care what artist you are, especially when it comes to sports. Athletes never stay on top. So if Drake fell off a little bit, like some people have been saying, I don't think that's something to celebrate and to bash him for declining. He's had a tremendous reign, nothing like it. And as a matter of fact, when he came into the game, the speed in which he surpassed Lil Wayne was surprising to me. I paid attention to that, and when Lil Wayne brought him on, when I was introduced to him, I said to myself, "This guy's a good artist. He has great wordplay." But I would have never thought he would have been dishing out music at the rate that he's been dishing out music. Because for those of you that follow Lil Wayne, when it comes to putting out music, Lil Wayne at one point was a juggernaut. He was putting out mixtapes, albums, great albums, and then again, when he brought on Drake, I would have never thought Drake would have surpassed him. All right. But with that being said, I wish him the best. But let's go on to this next thing I have queued up.
Goes independent, this whole industry gets turned upside down. Watch this, bro. Drake uploads God's Plan on a digital distributor for whatever money it is, less than $10, right? Fine, you pay for the beat, 10, 20, 30, 40K, whatever it is. Pay for it to get mixed, 4 racks, cool. So you're all in, tops 50K, tops. That song, you owning it forever and getting paid weekly on it, bro, you're making $1 million a week off of this. Like, life. It's like different. If Drake right now, completely independent, if Drake right now posts a link on a picture on the gram of his new album, link in bio, fuck a link in bio, new album out, fully independent, Drake will making $10 million a week for fucking 60 weeks. You know, it's like insane.
Drake is about to get the biggest bag in the history of the music business by far.
He should.
Because, well, A, he should, and B, they don't want that to happen. Because the day that happens, you might as well close the business down. Drake goes independent, the music business is over. If Drake goes independent, the music...
If Drake goes...
All right, so what I have next is something that's on Steve Stout. Because for those of you that are unaware who that gentleman was at the bottom of the screen, that's Steve Stout. And if you're familiar with his face, if you're saying to yourself, what do I know that man from? He is connected to Nas. Okay, you've seen him in some of Nas's videos. Mostly recently, one of Nas's videos from his, I want to say, the 3rd installment of the Magic album trilogy. He was in the Fever video, and that was the video in which Nas was capturing, I think, his 50th birthday, and Steve Stout was at that, in that video. He was at that dinner along with other rap artists. But this is just to tell you a little bit about Steve Stout. I was surprised that he said they, talking about the industry, wouldn't want a Drake to go independent, but Steve Stout is of the industry. All right, as you can see right here, it says Steve Stout, record executive who co-founded Ill Will Records, which was Nas's records that he started in the name of his late best friend Ill Will. So Steve Stout helped Nas put that together alongside, as you can see here, he helped Nas build that in 1999. He also concurrently served as the executive vice president of Interscope, Geffen, A&M Records, and president of Urban Music at Sony Music from 1999 to 2009. It says in 2017 he founded the music distribution platform United Masters, for which he is chief executive officer. He also founded Translation music marketing agency in 2004. I'm not going to go further than that, but the fact is he's from the industry, and I just thought that was interesting that he spoke as though that he wouldn't be affected by such a large, a well-known artist as Drake deciding to go independent. This, to me, would affect him. Now, I don't know about what other business ventures he's a part of, but this would definitely affect him, because once other artists start seeing Drake, what Drake is doing and how he's benefiting from it, I believe, yes, it will be the decline of the music industry. But here's what I have to say to that. I'm all for it, because the music industry has been taking advantage of artists for years. This would be an accomplishment that many of artists from the past would just applaud, because that was something they were trying to accomplish, but there was always roadblocks. Conveniently, there were roadblocks to stop artists from getting their independence. Again, I've talked about this once before, or maybe even twice before. The Michael Jackson, Prince, I want to say Sam Cooke. Those are just artists. Those are three artists I could think of that were trying to accomplish ownership within the music industry. Why? Because they recognized through their careers, through the success in their careers, that they were not receiving the monies that they deserved. And so for that reason, I absolutely, again, Drake would be winning hand over fist if he signs that equity deal with that's been allegedly proposed for $2 billion. That, in addition to him putting out further music as an independent artist, it's a win-win-win. Drake will forever be, you know, you could say he lost a rap battle. That's objective. We could go back and forth about whether or not he lost. Some will say, you know, he lost because Kendrick, with his recent wins, Grammy wins, he has more Grammys than Drake. We could say Kendrick, you know, had a hell of a couple of months, if not a year. He did the Super Bowl, etc., etc. But it's clear to say, if what is alleged comes true with the $2 billion deal plus owning, having independence, it would be, I think I would be right in saying that Kendrick may have won the war, but or I should say he won the war and Drake would win the battle. Or is that, or do I flip that? The point is, at the end of the day, you could say Drake will have the last laugh. All right. And it starts with the fact that he dropped 3 albums. Only one we knew about. The other 2 was just like, here, UMG, kiss my ass. And then if he goes ahead and signs this alleged $2 billion deal and then becomes independent, whatever project he drops next, or maybe after a year, it's a win-win. Let me get into this video, and there's something else I want to mention.
One of the craziest moves in artist history today. I knew he was releasing an album. He just recently did the big Ice Cube thing in Toronto with Zachary MD Motivator, who, by the way, shout out to MD Motivator. I love you, Zach. He didn't just drop one album. Drake actually dropped 3 albums today. And why does this matter? Well, he actually had a contract with Universal Music Group for 3 more albums. He fulfilled his contract today by dropping 40 plus tracks. The allegations are that he has allegedly around $400 million of a back end that is owed from the Universal contract. And after he fulfills with these albums that he just dropped today, he's now allegedly going to be a free agent. Already today, since he's allegedly been a free agent, he's already allegedly been approached with a $2 billion offer by a private equity firm. So he's positioned himself to possibly become the wealthiest music artist in history with this move today, dropping 3 albums. It's crazy. I don't know what to think about it. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Drake dropping 3 albums, being able to be released from Universal Music Group, and now being allegedly offered $2 billion by a private equity firm. Wow. Let's see what happens. Drake just pulled one of the...
Again, I say, my thoughts on it is, let's go, Drake. Get your money. I wish you the best. I'm going to end with this clip, and this is from Joe Budden, the Joe Budden Network, and Joe Budden just speaking on the threat of Drake in the music industry.
He gets back in his...
All right, let me just address, it says Papi Satoru Gojo. You can see right here, it says those Drake albums are mid. All right, first of all, let's look at this. Let's just say unanimously the world thinks the 3 Drake albums are mid, which the world's entitled to think what it wants, right? But just think about it from Drake's perspective. If you want to be free, like the record that I love, right, from his Iceman album, if you want to be free, are you giving the record label your best? Now, you might say, well, why tarnish your legacy by putting out mid? Well, I don't know. Only Drake can answer that. But if you want to be free and you want to be independent and you're tired of helping someone else get rich off your back and your labor, then yeah, I'm going to give you more than enough songs so you can't take me to court and say, oh, he gave us, these weren't complete albums. He gave 43 records in totality. as I mentioned in yesterday's episode. So one thing UMG can't say is, oh, he tried to get over on us as far as the amount of music that he left us with. No, he gave you 43 songs. In addition to that, it seems like every few hours I go to YouTube, I see a new video. He's been flooding the YouTube with videos. So he gave material. He wants to be free. All right, this is a revolution. But Joe Budden said it best. This is what I was alluding to when I mentioned the 3 artists that I mentioned. I mentioned Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, and I want to say in that order, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Cooke, yes, it was in that order because Prince passed away after Michael Jackson. It was Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, and Prince. Those are the 3 artists that I know of. I'm sure if you know of other artists that have tried to do something huge in the music industry, something happened to them. And might I add, all 3 of those names I mentioned had untimely deaths. Sam Cooke was a questionable death by some woman he was dealing with who shot him. You could look into that, look into the history of Sam Cooke. I've seen documentaries on it. The documentary itself, just watching the documentary, you knew that something wasn't adding up with this whole thing. It just wasn't adding up. And it was too convenient at being that he was trying to get ownership of his music. All right, and start something fresh, something that was never done before by a black artist. All right. And so that's what happened to Sam Cooke. Then Michael Jackson, we know what happened to Michael Jackson, right? And then Sony was able to regain most of the catalog that Michael Jackson fully owned because of his passing, right? And then Prince. We didn't hear anything about Prince not being healthy. Prince, I believe, passed away in his home, much like Michael Jackson. But again, those three artists, those 3 men, it just didn't make any sense. But here we are, and I agree completely, 1,000% with Joe Budden. Here we are now. Drake is about to do something huge, extremely huge. And if I was Drake, I'd be very careful of who's in your circle. I'd be very careful what you eat, what you drink. And it might sound funny. I'd be careful what plane you get on, what car you get in. And I'm not saying to be paranoid, but I wouldn't even know what advice to give someone in that position, because that's a position that only someone like Drake would understand. There's no one that would be able to identify or give him a suggestion on how to navigate through something like this. He's about to do something that, again, it's never been done before, and there's always been something that some type of mysterious roadblock or hurdle that presents itself, unfortunately, in the form of death, to stop artists from elevating to a point of complete ownership. Again, this music industry is very shady. It's very devious and devilish, and you just can't trust it. What you see on the surface level is just not even half of what goes on behind closed doors in the music industry. When I think of the music industry, I think of that saying. There's a saying, "Believe only half of what you see." And let me see if I can find that saying. But listen, I wish Drake the best. I really am happy for the man. I wish him but the best. I can't stand bullies, and outside of music, I can't stand bullies. So anyone who feels like they just feel the need to just, even if they know that the music is good, they just want to jump on social media and campaign against him, I can't stand you either. I can't stand people that operate like that. If you see someone working, putting in the work, you can't be mad at someone putting in the work. If the end result is not what you like, that's a different story. But don't hate on someone that's putting in the work. Some people hate and they don't even put in work. They just sit down. They're spectators they're like old women that sit at the window, looking out the window, looking to complain about people in the street. All right, don't be that old woman that sits in the window and just watches what people do and you're complaining all the time. All right, don't be that person. But listen, what's your thoughts on all this? What's your thoughts on the potential deal, the $2 billion deal? Are you happy for him? Are you not happy for him? Do you not care? If you don't care, that's fine too. It's fine that you don't care. It doesn't affect you if he signs or if he doesn't sign. But I wish him the best, and I hope he lands it. I hope all his endeavors from this point on is carried out, and I wish him nothing but safety in the process also. And that's all I have on this. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend and tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And do not forget, my project, The Harvest, drops May 22nd. They will drop at midnight. And I'm excited. I'm excited to share this again with you all. If you haven't seen my Q&A hosted by No Mercy Harlem, check that out. Go through my catalog on Honorable Men Discord on YouTube. Honorable space, you gotta space it, Men space Discord. You can look up my catalog to see where I've been posting all the music videos towards the album. I plan to do music videos for all 12 records that's on the album, excuse me. And again, I'm excited. May 22nd, tune in. And as always, stay honorable.